Hello, Tyler here, and for this video we are going to be going over the heavy support options. Well, a couple of them might be fast attack, but basically I'm going over all the vehicles you can take for the Renegades and Heretics and reviewing them. So technically you could say this is for the Imperial Guard also, but I'm going to look at it through a Renegades and Heretics lens. And this is just going to be all the normal Games Workshop stuff and not the Forge World stuff. That's going to be the next video. Alright, so first vehicle, and I'm just going to do these in the order they are going down, just to make it easy. Alright, first vehicle, Hellhounds. These are a vehicle I was a little torn on if I thought they were good enough or not. But after thinking about it, I definitely do think they're worth their points, depending on which cannon you pick. Alright, so Hellhounds. 12-8-6 movement, so 12 movement's pretty solid. Ballistic skill, but they don't really need a ballistic skill. And just whatever the attacks are. But they're actually pretty tough with toughness 7 and 11 wounds. So I mean, they're surprisingly tanky for what they are. So basically, just in case you didn't know, these are the flamethrower tanks of, yeah, that's what they are. So, there's 3 different kinds: Hellhound, Devil Dog, Banewolf. It doesn't really matter because they're all the same thing. They just have a different cannon, but for some reason they changed the name. Okay, so they have 3 flamethrower cannons, basically. Chem cannon. I would say this is probably the worst one out of the bunch. It's also the cheapest one, but I just don't think it does. I just don't think it's as good. If it had 2d6 shots, I could see it being as good, but it doesn't. So I don't think it's as good as the other 2. So basically, what it is it's a flamethrower. It's only range 8, so it's very short. And the thing with the flamethrowers when they're that short is it's sort of easy for chargey people to just get around your Overwatch by staying out of it. But, yeah, so 8 range, I like the longer range flamethrowers just so you can always get the people on the charge. Range 8, heavy d6, it doesn't have a strength. It automatically hits any non-vehicles on a 2+. If it's targeting a vehicle, it hits on a 6+. So, if you get them in, so you might only have 1 shot, but it's basically going to hit no matter what. It has a good AP, and it has 1 damage. So this is very, very good for killing Space Marines and stuff like that. I know in the fluff they even say that they try to keep the Chem Cannon sort of secret because they're so good at killing the Space Marines that they don't like it. But yeah. So I would say this is the worst one. It's the cheapest, but I just don't think it does enough. If you're going to spend 100 points on a vehicle and it doesn't really do anything, it's sort of meh. Second one, Inferno Cannon. I think this is the best one. 16 range, so it's good enough to hit everybody on the charge. And I mean, 16's not awful. Heavy 2d6. But here's the thing though, strength 6. So anything you're going to fight, it's going to hit on at least a 5. I mean, it's going to wound on at least a 5. So this cannon can let you vaguely take on anything, really. But, I mean, with strength 6, it's going to double up on any, like, normal toughness 3 infantry guys. And, I mean, it's going to hit anything up to strength 6 on a 4. And it's even going to hit Space Marines on a 3. AP -1. Not the best, but it's still something. And 1 damage, and it automatically hits. And so does the Chem Cannon. But so I mean, the fact that it always hits, the high strength and AP, average 7 shots, this is just good. It's just a very good gun on a decently cheap tanky platform. I mean, because like I said, it's just very utilitarian. And it's so good against the Charger since it automatically hits on Overwatch. Alright, the last one, and this is the weird one. Even though I still think it's better than the Chem Cannon. Multi-Cannon. Assault D6. And it's basically like you get It literally all it is a D6 melt-a-gun. That's literally all it is. There's no difference. But I mean, it's pretty. I mean, melt-a-guns are good. The main problem with it, though, is the fact that that this thing doesn't have very good ballistic skill. It has 4+, but that's only if it doesn't move. And this is a thing that moves. It needs to get into that 12 range. So then it's going to have D3 shots, but none of them are probably going to hit. So I just don't think it's as reliable as the other two. I mean, it's not the worst thing by any means. I just don't think it's reliable enough. And then it can take a heavy flamer, a multi-melta, you know. Heavy flamer, 17 points, I think. They might have switched it so it was like weird stuff happening, like depending on your ballistic skill. But I'm pretty it's just 17. You know, the multi-melta was the ones that's weird points. But no matter what, you have to have a heavy bolter, heavy flamer, or multi-melta. Heavy bolter is okay on it. I mean, to be honest, you might as well just go. Well, no, because that is like a fifth of its points. I don't know, but at least has to have a heavy bolter. So no matter what, you're looking at roughly 100 points a model. That's how much these things cost. Because the Melta Cannon is 20. Inferno Cannon's 20. Kim Cannon's 15. It's like 73 points, and you have to take at least 8 points for the other thing. So they're about 100 points. So, you know, fairly cheap. Pretty tanky. And a good gun. So, you know, not anything that's going to, like, be super OP. But, I mean, I think they're a pretty good addition. Especially against flyers, since they automatically hit. Okay, next thing, Scout Sentinels. These are technically fast attack. But I'm going to put them in the video also. Scout Sentinels. This video contains... Whoops. Alright, Scout Sentinels. So basically, they're vehicles, but they're sort of just like tough guys, really, with their stats and such. So they have a pretty decent move of 9. 4+ ballistic skill, 4+ weapon skill. So, you know, they can hit things okay. 5 strength, 5 toughness, 6 wounds, 1 attacked, 7 leadership, 4+ save. So, you know, they're sort of like weird vehicle things, but they're basically just big guys stat-wise. These are the ones... There's 2 different kinds of Scout and the Heavy. The Scout are less tough, but they're faster, and they have Scout Vehicle, which is pretty darn good. Because it lets you move it up 9 inches farther. But yeah, these are just cheap things that are sort of special weapons platforms. Because any number of them can take a heavy flamer, autocannon, missile launcher, and las cannon, and all of those are good. Yeah, the Sentinel Chainsword, I forget how many points it is, but I guarantee it's not worth it if it costs anything. Because all it does is it gives you -1 AP. Yeah, I mean, any of those are viable. I'd probably say the best thing would be like put an autocannon, las cannon, or missile launcher on it if you want to keep it cheap, the multi-laser. But they're an okay unit. They actually, let's see how many points they come in at. Because these are one of the few units where I just don't really like the Sentinels that much, so I haven't paid too much attention to them. They are... Oh, Scout Sentinels. 35 points apiece. So pretty cheap all around. They're basically the same point. Well, they're only a little bit more than a Renegade Ogre anyways, and that's what I think of when I think of them. But yeah, just cheap heavy weapons platforms. Alright, Armored Sentinels. I thought they were heavy support, but no, they're also fast attack. So these things have 6 toughness. They lose the Scout, and they have 1 less inch of movement. Yeah, so that's really the only difference. Oh, and they also get a plasma cannon, while these guys didn't get to have a plasma cannon. Man, and they do just die if they roll a 1 for the plasma cannon, huh? Alright, next thing up. Heavy support. Basilisks. I know I said that wrong and I'm very sorry. These are literally just an artillery gun. 12 normal like movement, 4, 5, 6 ballistic skill, normal attacks. Only 6 toughness, but it does have 11 wounds and 3+ save. But the main thing this thing has is its gun. Earthshaker cannon, 240-inch range. So basically it's going to hit anything on any of the boards around yours. And then you got the D6 dice. The D6 shots it gets. So, okay number of shots. Strength 9. Strength 9 is very good because that means it hits just about anything at 3+. Except for like really big, I think only like Titans and stuff are above strength, toughness 8. So it's hitting anything pretty reliably. -3 AP. Gonna go through armor saves, make them use their invulns. So pretty good. Only D3 damage though, so it actually doesn't do too much damage, and you don't get that many shots. But the good thing is, it can hit things it can't see, which is nice. Artillery bombs coming in, you know. And you get to roll 2 dice for the number of attacks. So it boosts the average number of attacks you get up to like 4. I forget what the exact thing is. But yeah, you know, they got the squadron. So, you know, you can get multiple and they only take up 1 space. Oh, I gotta go back and say something real quick. I forgot. The one thing about Hellhounds is they do blow up and cause mortal wounds on a 4+. So you don't want to buy your guys if they're going to blow up, but if you can charge them and just ram them into the enemy and they blow up, that's pretty good because you get some nice mortal wounds then. And they all have smoke launchers, but I really don't think they're ever worth it. Unless they like can't shoot or something weird like that. Yeah, this guy, he's got explodes and smoke launchers also. Alright, next thing, Wyverns. I looked at the point value for these. I actually gotta say the point value of the Basilisks first. But I'll say that in a second. I'm pretty positive they increased the points of the Wyvern, but it doesn't show up on my codex. And I'm pretty positive it's the one that has the FAQ on it, so I have no idea. But, yeah, Basilisks are exactly 100 points, and their gun is free. Okay, yeah, so they're just straight 100 points, but I think they have to take a heavy bolter, so that's like 108. So slightly more than the Hellhound. I personally like the Hellhound more, but it really all depends. Especially for the Renegades, I think the Hellhound's better. Wyverns. So I think these guys are pretty cool. I haven't did all the research on them yet. Haven't played with any. But I think they're pretty darn good for very certain things. So there actually is a Forge World model that is just just Wyvern cannons. And it's cheaper, but only very slightly. It can't move, and its gun is strength 5, but it doesn't get to do the rerolled wounds. So if I'm correct, I'm pretty positive this one is a lot better with you being able to reroll wounds. But it's really what you want. I'd say these are better, but it's sort of iffy. Okay, so this thing. You know, normal stats like everything else. It's only toughness 6, so it's weaker. Only 11 wounds, 4+ ballistic skill. But the crazy thing it has is its gun. So you get 46 shots. So that's like average 14. So you get like average 14 shots. So basically you're going to hit 7 times. It has no AP and only does 1 damage. It's only strength 4. Strength 4 is okay. Strength 5 is way better though. But it's only strength 4. But you get to reroll the wound rolls. So that's really good. So this thing's good at just making Space Marines take tests or just grinding up random infantry guys, you know. Alright, next thing, Hydras. These things aren't that good. They just aren't. They're just compared to everything else you can get for their points, they're just not worth it. So they have, same stats as the rest of the guys. But their special gun is the Hydra quad autocannon. So this is basically just an anti-aircraft gun. So you get to add 1 to the hit rolls against flyers. So then it's basically, it cancels out, since most of the flyers have the -1 to hit, it cancels that out. But if you shoot at anything on the ground, they have a -1 to hit. So they go up to 5+ to hit automatically. So not that good in that instance if they don't have any flyers. Strength 7, good, because none of the flyers are really strength 8. -1 AP, not very good, because a lot of the flyers have at least 3+ saves. And then 2 damage. So 2 damage, good, but it's just not enough to make this guy worth it. He just really isn't. I mean, Hellhound could do more damage to a flyer since it just automatically hits it. But yeah. Next thing. Now this Manticore and the Death Strike, I really do not... It's hard for me to gauge these things. But I think they're at least okay. Like, at least this one I think is okay. The other one is so weird, I just don't think it's worth it. But this one's okay. And just a quick update. No, that was the Hydra. Yeah, the Hydra's like straight 100 points too. So like I said, it's basically all these things are almost the same points. And the other ones are just better than the Hydra. Alright, Manticore. This thing's a little more. So it's got the same stats as the other one, but it's got the nice 7 toughness, making it stronger. 6 to 7 is not that big of a difference, really, but yeah. So its special gun is the Storm Eagle rocket. And basically what it is you only get to shoot 4 the whole match. So it's sort of like, it's only alive for 4 turns, basically, because then it's worthless. So it's got the thing where it can hit anything, even if it can't see it. It's got the whole table range. Can only shoot it once per turn, and each one can only be fired once, so it only gets to shoot the 4 of them once a turn. Strength 10, very good strength. That means it's hitting basically any model on the table on a 3+. -2 AP. That could be better, definitely, for what it is. And then D3 damage. Definitely could be better. And then it's got the explodes and the smoke launchers. But I mean, it's okay. For its points, I wouldn't super recommend it. It's 125 and the other things are less. I mean, I really think it just depends. Because I just don't know if it does anything better than the other ones. Especially with only AP -2. I mean, it is 2d6 though, so that is pretty good. I don't know. I think it's viable, but I don't think it's anything amazing. Death Strike. So basically, this is like the previous thing, but it just has 1 big missile. It only can fire once. And I almost think this thing is... I almost want to say it's unusable, because it can't even shoot. Like, they made it basically be worthless for the first few turns. So if it just dies, then whoop, it didn't even do anything at all, ever. And once it shoots its missile, it's just dead. So literally, it's all this points invested for 1 shot that you might not even be able to take. Death Strike. It is 155, so it's more than any of the other things, and this is all it does. So you get to shoot it once per battle. Heavy 3d6. It can hit even things it can't see. So basically, just if you hit it, it suffers a mortal wound. After resolving damage on the unit, roll a d6 for each other unit within 6 of it. On a 4+, that unit also suffers d6 more wounds. So if what you shoot at's by your guys are gonna get hurt too. But if you can shoot it, if he has a bunch of small units of things all around, this will just wreck them. So, I mean, 3d6, that's roughly what... I'm just going to say roughly 10. It's a little off from it. So then, at best case scenario, half of them hit. So that's 5. So then you only get 5 mortal wounds. 5 mortal wounds for 150 points. That's not that good of a deal. You can just get a couple of, like... You can get, like, just a random Rogue Psyker Coven for less than this guy, and they can just use smites. But the real problem with this thing is that it can't shoot its rocket on it first. Roll a d6, then add the battle round number. If it's 8 or more, you can fire the Death Strike missile. So on the third turn, you have to have a 5+. So basically, on turn 3, you have sort of roughly a 50-50 chance of being able to shoot it. But yeah, no. Really, it could just keep going out forever, and you would just never get to shoot it. So yeah, I don't like that one bit. I don't think it's worth it. All right, now we're right here. We're on to the good stuff. We're on to the dude, the Leman Russ battle tank. So as you can see, it has a ton of variations, and I'm just going to go through them all and tell you which are good, which are a little bad. So Leman Russ is our base 122 points. So a little more expensive than the other things. They are toughness 8, though. They're the rare toughness 8, so they can tank things real good, and they're 12 wounds. They got that 3+ save. Lower movement of only 10, and the 4+ ballistic skill. So they get one of the cannons, one random like heavy bolter or las cannon or heavy flamer, and then on the sides it can either take 2 heavy bolters, 2 heavy flamers, 2 multi-melters, or 2 plasma cannons. You can't mix them up. And then you can take some of the stuff from the vehicle equipment list, but I don't even know what's on that. I'll do a video on that some other time. Yeah, so grinding advance, the bomb diggity. When he moves, he doesn't. So basically every gun he can take is heavy. He moves. They don't go down in accuracy. Actually, I'm gonna check that just to make sure that it's all his guns and not just the main one. Just to make sure, so I don't lie to you folks. Yeah, no, it is only the turret weapon. Well, that's sort of stupid. But I mean, I guess the fact it gets to shoot the turret weapon twice sort of makes up for it. But yeah, no, the Leman Russ is definitely one of the best vehicles you can take as a Renegade Guard. Alright, first cannon, battle cannon. Not the best, not the worst. Heavy D6. So you don't get... So if you move under half, you get 2d6. Strength 8, so good strength. Only AP -2 and only D3 damage. So it doesn't do a ton of damage. It's not crazy. You don't get a ton of shots. So it's sort of iffy, but I don't think it's the worst one. Demolisher Cannon. This is one of the better ones. The main thing that limits it is the range of it and the fact that it costs more than the other ones. Because the Battle Cannon's 22 points. The Demolisher Cannon's 40, so it's way more. But it is better. Just because it's higher strength, higher AP, and higher damage. And if you're attacking a blob of dudes, or really anything that says 5 or more models, it goes to heavy D6, so it can really wreck like mechs and stuff like that. They're like big groups of tough enemies, like Wraithguard. Ouch, they would not like this. Yeah, like I said, the price and the range are what sort of balance it compared to the other ones. Eradicator Nova Cannon. I do not really think this thing's that amazing. Maybe if they have like weird like cover bonus things like the Marauders have, maybe. But this one's just not good. This is a bad one. It is 25 points, so it's more expensive than the Battle Cannon. I definitely think the Battle Cannon's better than this one because you get 2 less strength, but this guy doesn't get cover. So I mean, it really just depends, and it has a way less range. All right, this one I think is a pretty good one personally. Executor Plasma Cannon. Really, what it is you just if you move under half, you get 2d6 plasma gun shots, and the plasma gun is very good. It can wreck Space Marines, and really it can put damage on vehicles too, with that AP -3 and 2 damage. I mean, you're gonna be hurting yourself some with the kickback from the supercharge, but if you're attacking vehicles, it's worth it because it doesn't one hit kill you. You just take one off now. So, I mean, take this thing and the 2 plasma cannons on the side. Just stay still and just let them have it. So yeah, this one's definitely good. And it is how many points? 20. So it's actually really cheap compared to the other ones. So yeah, this is a really good one. So this one's okay. This one's good. That one's sort of meh. This one's good. Next one, Exterminator Autocannon. I don't think this one's good at all. It's just not worth it. Because I mean, you can get autocannons pretty easy on a lot of things, and this is literally just, well, you would get 8 shots, so it's basically a Wyvern sort of type of thing. But it is 25 points. And you only have a ballistic. I mean, it's not the worst, but I don't like it one bit. Oh, I mean, 8 guaranteed shots versus like, I don't know. Maybe I like it more now. This one's sort of iffy, but I think it's okay. Okay, next one. Oh, is that the only other 2? Oh yeah, it is, huh? Punisher Gatling Cannon. This is the best turret by far. It only has a 24-inch range. It's heavy 20 though. So if you move under half, you get 40 shots with it. Basically, nothing can crank out as many shots for this many points. Well, no, actually, technically, a lot of like the random just like blob guy units, like the Beastmen guys, like the Mutant Rabble, how many you can get for like 160? You can get how many of them? Oh yeah, you can get 100 for one. No, that'd be 400 points. No, you get 40 of them for 40, and that would be 80 shots. But the thing is, this is strength 5. So it is going to be hitting anything on at least a 5. So, I mean, I think this one's the best one. Just the range is the main thing that shuts it off. Vanquisher Battle Cannon. This is by far the worst one. This one's just garbage. Because you only get 2 shots with it if you don't move. And, I mean, this thing has a long range. You shouldn't have to move with it. But it's just not worth it. Because you have a chance to hit maybe one thing with it. So you might be able to do 6 damage at the most with it. It's the other, almost all the other things have a way higher chance to do more than 6 damage. It's just not worth it. Because it's heavy 1, strength 8, which is good, AP3, which is good, D6 damage, and you get to roll 2. But it just doesn't have enough shots. It's just not worth it. I know I was looking at a chart for like the predicted damage values for it, and this was the least by far. The Forge World one is better with its, the Forge World Vanquisher is better, but it's not even that amazing, and this one's just bad. And just so you guys know, Punisher Gatling Cannon's 20 points, Vanquisher Gun is 25, so it's even one of the more expensive ones. I would say, I mean, you can make buff Leman Russes, but that just makes them even more of a target to kill. They are tough, but if you don't have a ton of tough things yourself, and you just have a few Leman Russes with like a bunch of random dudes, and they are probably going to have anti-tank weapons, they're going to just focus them and they'll get blown up easy. So it's sort of a trade-off if you actually want to put a ton of points in them. These dudes are 4+ ballistic skill though, so you can get the plasma guns for just 7 points. So I'd say no matter what, at least take the 2 plasma guns just because they're so good and so reliable at doing damage. Okay, next thing, Chimera. I personally have never liked Chimeras. I know a lot of people like them. This edition, I don't like not being able to shoot out of my vehicles. I just don't like it. This thing actually does have the weird las gun array thing, but then you lose it once they get out. Oh, actually, no. If they have the multi-laser and that's not that bad then. Huh. I don't know. I've never liked Chimeras that much, but I think they're actually okay, though. So, toughness 7, which is nice. It's good they have the higher toughness. I'd rather have I'd rather have toughness 7, so then I don't know actually if it's better than 1 more wound. But yeah, so the guns don't matter that much on it. What this is the transport, and a lot of the transports only give you 10. This gives you 12 infantry, and it can take 4 Ogryns. But so you get a heavy bolter or a heavy flamer. Get a multi-laser with a heavy flamer or a heavy bolter. So really you could have 2 heavy bolters or a multi-laser and a heavy flamer. Or 2 heavy flamers. Huh. But yeah, the 2 las gun arrays are actually pretty good, because if you're right up on someone's face, you get 6 shots with each of them, so that's pretty good. And these things are, how many points are they? Oh yeah, they're 75 points. So altogether, they're going to be slightly more expensive than a Hellhound. But I mean, hey, they're your dedicated transport. If you're playing the Renegade Guard and you want to have them sort of more guardy with dudes in transport, these things are not bad by any means. These things are pretty darn good. Yeah, I don't think we get Toroxes. I'll check real quick just in case, but I'm nearly positive there aren't Toroxes for the Renegades and Heretics. Yeah, there's not. Oh, my bad. Yeah. So you don't got to worry about this thing. I just like that it has the Gatling cannon, because I like things that shoot a lot. But yeah, Valkyries. These things are pretty heckin' good. They actually even reduce the points from the index to the codex, which is nice. And I gotta say, I like these as a transport, man. These things are just... I don't think they're the best model, but I think all around they're just so cool. So, 4, 5, 6 ballistic skill, very far move because they're a flyer. Good toughness of 7, 14 wounds, which is nice, 3+ save. They're 110 points before any of their upgrades. And, I mean, you don't got to put a ton of stuff on them, so they're not even that expensive. Because what you got... So, for guns, they have multi-laser Hellstrike missiles. Hellstrike missiles are pretty good. Oh, they're actually not that good. Never mind. It's literally just like a worse Dark Lance type of thing. Oh, but I guess you do get the bonus damage. I don't know. Or you get 2 multiple rocket pods. And the multiple rocket pods are pretty cool, because then you get 2d6 assault. And if you want, you can make it take 2 heavy bolters, and those are the sponson guys. So I mean, you always got to take the 2 heavy bolters, just so you got your sponson guys coming out at the sides, your gunners, and you can look really cool. And this thing gets to do a couple pretty awesome things. It is basically a flying Chimera. It can take 12 guys or 4 Ogrins. But here's the crazy thing it can do. Wherever you move it, dudes can disembark anywhere along it. But if you move more than 20 on a 1, that guy dies when he jumps out. Because it's like he was going too fast and gets wrecked. And they do have to be more than 9 inches away. But this is really good because you can put guys way up in the cover. Or you can get your chargy guys, specifically the Renegade Ogrins that have somehow been buffed. Well, I mean, even if you just take the Slaanesh trait, you get 3 on your 3 dice for the charge, discard the lowest one. So it can let you set your guys up far wherever you want them. Hover jets. If it hovers, it loses airborne, hard to hit, and subsonic until the next movement phase. But the thing is, if it hovers, it gets to add 1 to all its hit rolls. So if it's not hovering, it gets hard to hit and airborne. But the main thing you would go to hover jet for is if you really needed to kill something with your guns, or if you didn't want to move 20 or more. Yeah, right? Yeah, because the move characteristic becomes 20, so it can go anywhere in 20. So that's what the hover jet's good for if you don't want to go the full distance. And then it's got the weird supersonic and crash and burn. But yeah, really good transport unit right there. Now, if I'm correct, this is the last thing that's the normal stuff that these guys can take, and that is the Baneblade. For some silly reason, basically because they hate the Renegades and Heretics, you can only take a Baneblade, and you can't take any of the other cool variations. But the Baneblade is a pretty good one. Real quick, for the Valkyrie, multiple rocket pods are 11. Hellstrike missiles are 20. And the multi-lasers, like 6 points, I think. Oh, 10 points. So it's not that expensive. Okay, Baneblade. This is the big, cool tank. And it's pretty neat. That was a really stupid thing to say, sorry. But, yeah, 5+ weapon skill, so it actually can hit things pretty easy. 4+ ballistic still for decent amount of wounds. 10 movement, so it has pretty good movement. 9 strength, 10 toughness, 8 toughness, 26 wounds. So it's a tank. It is really tanky. So it has the Baneblade cannon, an auto cannon, demolisher cannon, a twin heavy bolter, and the tracks. So it can take a 100 killer missile. A lot of the things can. It can just randomly take a storm bolt or a heavy stubber. And it can take 2 sponsons or 4 sponsons. So basically you get to pick if you want 2 or 4 of las cannons, 2 bolters per slot, or 2 heavy flamers per slot. So it's an okay. So I mean, you get to pick what you want, and you get a lot of guns. The Baneblade is pretty expensive at 390 points. I mean, it's a lot of wounds, a lot of stuff. If you want, it's sort of OP, especially at lower point levels, just because it's so tanky. But Baneblade cannon, pretty good gun. It is literally just a better battle cannon because it's strength 9, up a strength, up an AP, and up a damage, and you get 3d6. So it can put some damage on stuff. We've already went over how the Demolisher cannon is really good. And I mean, twin heavy flamer, all this stuff's good. And it can move and fire heavy weapons. It can move out of engagements and still shoot. So yeah. And that is all of the normal vehicles and stuff that the Renegades and Heretics can take. So yeah, as you saw, a decent amount of stuff. And most of it usable, a couple of the things bad. Next video is going to be over all of the forward field stuff, but I might have to split that into a couple of videos. I don't know. But thanks for watching. Leave any constructive criticism you want, and have a nice day.